Hi, I'm Mike Fritsch. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Confoe Incorporated. Confoe provides project management expertise and tools to reduce the time, cost, and uncertainty of technology implementations and capital projects. For 20 years, we've been helping the Fortune 100 and SMBs alike accelerate their project success. So we've seen that companies of all sizes do struggle with their technology implementations. And studies and statistics kind of back that up. On average, projects have a cost overrun of 27%. And in IT projects, 1 out of 6 of those have a cost overrun of greater than 200% and a schedule overrun greater than 70%. In fact, the Project Management Institute says that only a select few companies can claim project success rates greater than 85%. What things can you do to make your implementation more successful? We've seen 5 common mistakes that could really kill your technology implementation. So let's talk about those and see what you might be able to do to avoid those pitfalls. So the first one is automating junk. All right, so you go in, you've got a process that's maybe a little bit sloppy, ain't the greatest one in the world, and you decide, I'm gonna fix things with software. So you go in and make everything run automatically, but without streamlining that business process, not taking out the bad steps. What you end up doing there is making bad stuff happen faster and increasing the volume of garbage that your organization has to deal with. So you need to step back, try to optimize those business processes before you go to automating or doing some type of technology implementation. The next pitfall is very similar, and that's what we call one size fits all. And that's where you go and see maybe a solution that is good for another department or another business unit, and you say, hey, I'm just going to apply that to my situation. And you take that on without really examining what are the differences in your business processes or what are the differences in your business goals. And when you do that, you are really trying to find something that may not exactly fit. So the third problem is choosing something best in breed. This often happens with a software solution, and you've talked to the supplier, the software vendor, and it's like, oh man, this is the greatest thing that you've ever seen. And you say, yeah, that looks really similar to what I've got to do. I'm going to just put that in place. And often when you do that, again, you have not looked at your customer requirements or looked at your business processes. And really, you end up doing what we call the square peg in the round hole situation. And so you get something that's not really going to fit your needs. The way that you avoid that is make sure that you really understand your business requirements and your processes, and then take a look at that best in breed solution that may in fact be a great one, and understand how it will enable your processes, how it will enable your customer requirements, and just make sure that it can do that. And if there's some minor changes that you need to make to your processes, that is okay, as long as you make a conscious decision, take a look at them, and say, yeah, that's the right thing for us to do. But again, don't blindly go in and say, hey, I've got this great software package, it's gonna fix everything, and just implement that without doing the normal analysis that is required of any other solution. So those first 3 mistakes are very similar in that you don't take the time to really understand your business requirements, your organization, your customers, and your challenges, and then have the technology implementation meet those needs. One of the biggest mistakes that we see is ignoring change management. Our shorthand name for that is my way or the highway. And often this is something that happens when a very senior executive says, hey, this is the way we're going to do it, we're going to change it. And that senior executive discipline and enforcement for a change is important, but without change management, it's going to fail. So change management means we got to go in and talk to the various stakeholders, especially the folks on the front line, the people that are doing the actual work. If you come in and dictate a change to them and expect that they are going to do work differently and you haven't really explained why or how, you're going to be disappointed. What happens there more often than not is you have people doing fake compliance, and they'll go in and do shadow work on the old system, doing things the way they always have, and then go over to the new system and just enter enough data or do enough work so that nobody gets on their case about using the new system. And in fact, we've seen an example in a very large company where somebody actually had an old server underneath their desk so that they continued to do the work the way they've done it for the last 10 years. And then they took an output and entered it into the new system. So that's more common than you may think. And when you talk about change management, not only is it the folks that are on the ground doing the work, but you've got to look at the customers as well, because you might implement a change and hurt the folks that you're really supposed to serve. So that is one of the most important aspects that you've got to take into account. If you ignore that change management, you are bound to fail. The final pitfall that we see, we call that slow decision making, and we kind of nicknamed that moving at turtle speed or the train has left the station. And what we find here is that there's a huge problem, everybody wants to fix it, and we start examining various solutions, but nobody can really make the decision, or more often than not, we see that the approval process is so slow that months and months pass as things work their way up the chain, whether it's through finance or IT or other departments. And the momentum and the excitement about trying to fix that problem dies out, or the business process work and the analysis that you did prior to going through the long, slow approval process, those things have changed and now you've got to start all over again. So those are 5 pitfalls that could really kill your technology implementation. And if you look at each of those and avoid them, you'll have a much greater chance of success. If you'd like to learn more, or if you'd like our help, go to www.confoe.com, reach out to us, we'd be glad to help.